Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. You know, yesterday we went into the mall here, and one of the young ladies recognized us from the radio show, and she said, what kind of show do you do? And I said, it's a talk show. And she said, oh, a talk show. And what do you, like, about politics all the time? and I was like, no, it's hard to explain. We have, in fact, very few political conversations. It happens during election season, of course.
Yeah.
But we have some of the best guests, and some of those guests come from all over the world. We have Pauline Dakin on the phone right now. I hope I said her name right. Her book is called Run, Hide, Repeat. It's a memoir. Listen to what it says in the notes. First of all, she's got credentials that you wouldn't believe. She's an award-winning journalist up in Canada, right?
Yes.
She's a former senior producer of current affairs for the Canadian Broadcasting Company. Do you know I knew somebody with the CBC?
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if it's a small world for them or not, but I'll mention the name and see if she remembers him. She's an assistant professor at the University of King's College School of Journalism in Halifax, Nova Scotia. She spent much of her childhood on the run. That's what this book is about. Run, hide, repeat. It says here that her mother told her they were running from the mafia. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's true. Let's find out right now. Good morning, Pauline. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Good morning, Larry. It's lovely to be with you.
And where are you? Where are we calling to?
I am in beautiful Halifax, Nova Scotia, on the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
Remember Carly Simon sang about the eclipse of the sun?
Right.
New Year, Lear, Nova Scotia.
Right. I remember that. Do you know, I was up in Quebec with my son a long time ago, and we were camping, and my son was young, and we were just enjoying the time, and there was an older couple from here, I think from Florida, and they had an RV, and they said they were going to drive up to Nova Scotia to see the whales, and they invited us to come, but we passed on. I always say, gosh, why did I miss that opportunity? I should have done that.
We still have whales. It's never too late.
Really? So it's easy to. Okay, I'll have to remember that. It definitely should. Yeah, make good on an old thing that I missed doing. So tell me about your childhood, and are you an only child?
No, I have a brother who also lives in Canada, and actually I have a half sister who lives in your part of the world. She's sort of towards Tampa.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Nice.
I'm hoping maybe she's listening, and if she is, hi, Linda.
Hello, Linda. All right, so I have on the podcast that we're doing right now, the live thing, the cover of the book. Is that you and your brother on the cover?
That's me and my brother Ted. And in that picture, I think we would have been kind of 4 and 6 or 3 and 5, somewhere along that. And that's at a beautiful beach on the west coast of Canada on Vancouver Island.
So where were you born? Where did you start?
We were born in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Okay.
On the west coast of Canada, yep.
Were you really running from the mafia?
Well, I had no idea what we were running from growing up. My brother and I just knew that twice while we were growing up. The first time we went on vacation to the Canadian prairies, thousands of miles away, and just never went home. And we were told we're not going back, and we said, what? Why wouldn't we be going home? And the answer was, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I'll tell you when you're older. And then that happened again the year that I was 13, and we ended up here on the east coast of Canada. And again, there was no answer as to why. So, all these strange things, those were the two strangest. But, a lot of strange things happened growing up.
Really?
And, it wasn't, for one night I remember hearing this terrible crashing and banging around in the basement as though there was some terrible fight going on. And the house was vibrating from it and grunting and so on. And later I was told, this story that was the night that the Italian mafia came after us, and there were people in the basement to meet them, to fight them off. So what happened was when I was 23, my mother said, okay, you're old enough now, I'm going to tell you what's been going on.
Wow.
And she and a longtime close family friend named Stan Sears told me together that we'd been on the run from the mafia. And then Stan told me this, incredibly complex story about how we came to be targeted by organized crime. Yeah.
How?
And we were receiving protection from sort of a covert anti-organized crime task force, a government-sponsored kind of task force. And they had been protecting us and had saved us many times from attempted kidnappings and hits and various things.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was the story I was told when I was in my early 20s.
So what did your parents do for a living?
My dad was a developer and a business guy. And my mom, she had been a flight attendant and until she met my dad. And she had also done some nurses training. But they divorced when I was, quite young, when I was 6. And this is how my mom met this fellow, Stan Sears, who'd become such close family friends, he and his wife. When they split up, my dad was alcoholic, and my mom had been attending the support group for the families of alcoholics called Al-Anon. And at Al-Anon, they recognized that she was quite depressed. And said, you should go and see this counselor. He's terrific. His name is Stan Sears. And she did. And Stan was, yes, a counselor, but he was also a United Church minister. And he was very helpful to her. And she felt much better. And then when she needed work, she ended up working at his church as a secretary for a period of time. And then, his family and my family became friends, and we were camping together and, all this stuff. But it was when Stan came into our lives that all this strange stuff started happening.
So the minister was involved with the mafia somehow?
Well, the story was that before he ever met my mom, he'd counseled somebody who had been involved in the mafia and who was regretful and wanting to change his life. And the mafia became aware that he was seeing Stan and probably telling stuff, and so they killed him. And then they came after Stan, thinking Stan now knew a bunch of stuff.
Oh.
The reason my family was targeted, so the story went, was that when my mother, the disgruntled ex-wife of a mafia guy, that was part of the story, that my dad had been involved in the mafia, and when suddenly his disgruntled ex-wife is working with, the minister who knows too much, that this was seen to be more than a coincidence, and that they were targeted because they were thought to be working together.
Wow, is that another book?
Yeah.
Are you going to write another book, The Minister Who Knew Too Much?
I think I've outlined his role pretty well in this one.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so you were running away. So the adults that were with you were your mom and your stepdad, or did they not marry?
They did not marry, no. They did eventually fall in love. It won't surprise people to know. But those were the adults in my life, and also Stan's wife, who was in on this. But I guess the real twist in the story, I lived with this, and I decided it was such an insane story. I mean, it had crazy stuff going on that I can't even tell you about. But eventually, I thought, I just can't live with this anymore. I was struggling to keep believing it. The stories kept getting crazier. There was a floating death ship with black market organ stuff going on. I mean, it was just nuts. Finally, I said, I need to know for sure whether this is true or not, even though, these people I so trust. And they are such, they were responsible people in the community. They both had responsible jobs. They were well regarded. But still, I thought, I'm not buying it anymore. So
okay. Okay, so this whole mafia thing turned out to not be true.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Now you feel betrayed. I mean, you're 23 years old when you learn about this. That's old enough to be feeling betrayed, right?
Well, by the time I figured out for sure it wasn't true, I was in my late 20s. So I sort of tried to live with this story for a number of years. But yes, I felt betrayed. I felt shattered by that.
You had one incident in there where Stan went to the washroom or something, and he was getting beat up, and this protector guy came out and took care of the other guy that was doing the beating up.
Yeah. So we were always getting these stories about, and we would see Stan who'd been beat up. We would see one time he was attacked and had this terrible cut on his arm. So we would see these things, and then he would tell us the story of what had happened. And, you know, this appeared to be evidence. But in the end, Stan had to have beaten himself up, I guess.
Really?
The story wasn't true. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And
what a minister.
But you know what? He was a brilliant man. He was... people just really engaged with him. He was a very friendly, funny guy. People loved him.
Are they still around? Is everybody still alive, or has everybody passed?
No, they're all gone now. They're all gone. And so, you know, you can imagine my brother and I just kept thinking, why would this guy do this to us?
And how did Ted come through this all?
Well, Ted, he did the same thing I did for a long time because, you know, there was no explanation for why this crazy stuff had happened. So eventually you just say, well, I'm moving ahead with my life. I'm moving on. And you know, you carry on with your work and your family and so on. But when I decided to write about this a few years ago and told him, and I said, you know, this is your story too. I'll send it to you first. And he said, no, I trust you. You write it. I'll read it when it's published. So the book only came out last month, and so he's just finished reading it recently. So he's kind of going through all of this again.
Really?
And this.
So does it spoil the book for us if you tell us what was actually happening?
I don't think it does. I think that there's enough complexity in this story, and there's enough stories within the story that I can tell you what was really going on.
Okay.
And I do like to talk about it.
So let me use that as kind of as a tease. I'll take the break right now, and when we come back, maybe if you are okay with telling us what happened, Pauline, how do you pronounce your last name?
Dakin.
Dakin. Okay, I got it right. Okay, Run, Hide, Repeat is the title of the book. What an amazing story! If you're looking at the podcast, you're seeing the cover right now of the book. We'll take a little break and be right back with Pauline. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The City of Ocala Department of Recreation and Parks are proud to present the 34th Annual Light Up Ocala on November 18th. The fun starts on the square in downtown Ocala from 4 to 9 p.m. There'll be food vendors, 4 stages of entertainment, Whoville, Theme Kids Zone, the Downtown Holiday Skating Rink, crafts, the Junior Sunshine Christmas Parade around the square, and at about 7:30 p.m., the official Downtown Lighting Ceremony. See you at Light Up Ocala.
How would you like to win a new home and make a difference for Hospice of Marion County, the only not-for-profit hospice in the county? On Top of the World and Hospice are offering you a chance to win a brand new home right here in Ocala. All proceeds benefit Hospice of Marion County. Purchase your raffle entries for a chance to win a brand new home for only $100 at homefreeprize.com. The more you buy, the better your chance of winning. For complete rules and regulations and to purchase your entries, visit homefreeprize.com. That's homefreeprize.com. Certain restrictions apply. Must be 18 years of age or older to enter. Visit homefreeprize.com for complete rules and regulations.
All prizes donated. No purchase or contribution is necessary to win. Random drawing to be supervised by an independent auditor and held at 6 p.m. on November 2nd, 2017 at Circle Square Cultural Center, Hospice of Marion County, 3231 Southwest 34th Avenue, Ocala, Florida, 34474. Visit homefreeprize.com for complete rules and regulations.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
DeFio's Paint and Body Shop has been serving the Ocala-Marion County area for over 25 years. There's no job too big or too small. DeFio's makes it their priority to give customers quality service. Their hands-on daily approach comes with over 30 years in auto repair experience. DeFio's Paint and Body Work needs you if you have the skills and know-how to do the job. Call with resume in hand and get ready to get on a professional team today. Call 854-2220. That's 854-2220.
All right, 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. So next time somebody asks me, what kind of a radio show do you do? I'm going to say a good one.
There you
and
go.
you know what makes it good is these guests. This is
Yes.
an unbelievable story. Pauline Dakin is on the phone. You said you're in Vancouver? Is that? Oh no, you're in Nova Scotia. You're in Nova Scotia right now.
Started in Vancouver.
Is it cold there right now? Did I ask you this already? I can't remember.
No, it's been freakishly warm. Yesterday was 23 Celsius. I think that's probably kind of like almost 80 degrees or 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
Isn't that crazy that we don't know? That's the one. We know more foreign words than we know how to translate temperatures from snow. All right. So for those who tuned in, Pauline Dakin is on the phone, and her book is called Run, Hide, Repeat. It's a memoir of a fugitive childhood. Basically, her family was running away like her whole life, and up in Canada, and now you're a successful journalist with the CBC. I wanted to ask you a name, though, by the way. Let's see. The name of the guy I knew was Alan Sheckman. Was that his name, Alan Sheckman? Mm-hmm. Does the name ring a bell?
Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Nope. Okay, we'll move on.
Wouldn't that be fun? CBC's place.
CBC's huge, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you were running away, and it was not the mafia. What was the real reason for all the running?
Well, that was sort of the burning question that my brother and I lived with for so many years. And then when I started writing my book, I was doing research, and I stumbled upon this article in a medical journal about what it described as being an extremely rare condition called delusional disorder. I'd never heard of it.
Wow.
And it apparently it is, well, the literature says it's very rare, but I have to tell you, I don't think it's as rare as they think. So it's an interesting, I'm reading this article and I'm thinking, yes, this is exactly what I think was the problem with Stan. And so the thing that really distinguishes this condition is that there's typically kind of a late onset, so people are educated, they're established in their work, they have families, that kind of thing. And when it starts to happen, nobody can tell. These people appear completely normal. They don't have any of the other side effects of a major mental illness that you might expect. Like if somebody has untreated schizophrenia, you can usually tell. Same with, if somebody's having a psychotic break, you can usually tell. With these people, you can't tell, but they do behave completely normally, but they do have these very fixed delusions, and they 100% believe them. They can even, as I believe Stan did, they can manipulate things to bolster their delusion and still believe that it's real. It's a fascinating, very unusual kind of condition.
Did that condition manifest itself in other ways? Were you abused at all? Not to get too personal. No. Okay. So he was just
no.
And so that's why he was beating himself up. So the noise you heard in the basement, that was him just throwing stuff around?
Well, no. That's the weird thing is that it wasn't him, because there he was in the hallway with my mother and my brother and Sybil, and so I'm looking at him as I'm hearing this going on, and so all that I can assume is that either he convinced somebody to do it or paid somebody to do it. Maybe he said, I'm playing a practical joke on some people here, pretend, there's a fight. I don't know. These are the mysteries that sort of continue with the story that I won't ever understand.
Some unanswered questions still exist, apparently.
It seemed, though, that there were times of normalcy. He gave you away at your wedding.
I think it went away, the phone call.
Oh.
I heard a big click. I don't know what happened. Wow. What happened there?
I don't know. Let me get her back.
Well, we've got 5 minutes till the end of it. See if Robin can get her back. God, how are you going to do that? Okay, I don't think you can do that while we're on the air. No, I don't think you can do that. All right, well, I have a copy of the book. It's called Run, Hide, Repeat. That was an interesting way to make... Oh, Robin has a different way of doing this. Okay, maybe we'll get it back on the air. Run, Hide, Repeat is the name of the book. It's a memoir. It's written by our guest, Pauline Dakin. I found it on Amazon. I do have a copy here if you would like one. Call me. Otherwise, you can go buy it. I found it on Amazon. Looks like it's in Kindle version as well as the paperback that I've got. And at least we know what happened. It was a delusional guy, apparently. I wonder why there's so many questions. Do you have any more questions? I'm wondering, like, what happened with the guy? He never married her mom. Wow. Is she coming back?
No, I got her voice.
Oh, you got her voicemail? Oh, wait. Here, this might be her. Pauline, is that you?
It's me.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know what happened right there. So we only have a few minutes left. I did find the book on Amazon, and I was telling the listeners that I was going to give away the copy that you sent me. Do you have a website we can go to besides Amazon?
Yes, you do. Or I do. It's PaulineDakin.com. So it's PAULINE. Dakin is DAKIN.com.
As children, we like to protect children, but when you're talking about your own self as a child, do you think your brother or your sister will have a reaction that is not so positive with this book, or do you think everybody's going to be fine with this?
No, everybody's been shockingly supportive. I fully expected to have quite a bit of blowback from a lot of different sources, including, my mother's old friends, or, I thought people would really react. But people have been very sympathetic and kind and supportive. It's been remarkable.
So whatever happened with the love relationship between your mom and, was it Stan?
Sears.
Yeah.
Stan Sears.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they were in love for decades, but nothing ever came of it. And so one of the reasons they decided to tell me when they did that we'd been on the run from the mafia was that my mother said she had decided that she was going to go inside. And what she meant by that was go into sort of protective custody in this kind of secret world that Stan had told her about. And Stan said that he had left his wife. Stan said he'd left his wife and he was living inside and just coming out to visit her.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I think I see.
Yeah.
So she was even fooled. She thought the mafia was chasing you guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ah, okay, so she wasn't even in on it. Oh, my goodness. I would hate this. I would hate this guy, Stan. Do you hate him?
No, you know what? I don't. Because as soon as I realized that he had been mentally ill, and he truly believed that this stuff was happening, and he was trying to protect us.
Oh, okay.
So I did hate him for a long time, trust me.
I got
But when I learned that, it was like all this weight fell off me. I didn't have to, spend all this energy hating him anymore.
Well, congratulations on your success in life. How are you doing? Are you married? Do you have kids? All that?
I have 2 kids. They're almost grown up now, 2 daughters.
Wow.
And they're doing very well, and they're very supportive of this, I have to tell you. And so writing this book has been very good for me. It's allowed me to sort of sort all this stuff out from an adult perspective.
See that. Yeah.
And the Stan even gave you away at your wedding, so there must have been some sense of normalcy there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was at the time, that was after I'd been told the story, but before I decided it was definitely not true.
I've known quite a few journalists actually working in radio. You get to meet a lot of people who are writers, and a lot of them have books in them, and yet very few have actually put out a book. So I'm glad you got a book out. Any future books?
I'm working on something right now about resilience, actually. How do we survive difficult things? And there's fascinating research about resilience and
I love that.
protect us.
Pauline, thank you for being on the air with us today, and stay warm. It's going to be cold in Nova Scotia.
At some point it's supposed to.
Thank you.
It was great to talk to you.
This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. Documents about President Kennedy's assassination are released, with some withheld by President Trump for review at the FBI and CIA's request.
One of the documents shows former CIA Director Richard Helms asking if assassin Lee Harvey Oswald was ever a CIA agent. The answer is cut off. Also, a memo shows the CIA intercepted a phone call between Oswald and a KGB officer before the assassination. Another document reveals the